This is Angel Garcia. You've probably seen him hosting BAM BizTalk, asking the questions, guiding the conversations. But this time, he's not the host. He's the guest. Sitting across from powerhouse interviewer Tina Townsend, Angel tells the story he's never told on the mic before. The grit, the grind, the moments that almost broke him, and the breakthroughs that built BAM Ventures from the ground up. It's raw, it's real, and it's the truth behind how it all began. This is the origin story of BAM Ventures, told by the man who lived it. Weekly episodes are back, and we're starting with our founder, Angel Garcia.
Bam!
All right, this is Tina Townsend, and I'm sitting here with BizTalk, Angel Garcia.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
Thank you.
I have gotten the privilege to interview you and to talk about your resilience, your reinvention, and the power of perspective in BAM. So some people talk about business, others live it, breathe it, and fight it every single day. But Angel Garcia is one of those people. From the ground up, he has built BAM BizTalk, your business sidekick, a platform that cuts through the noise to bring you real stories. Raw lessons and hard-earned strategies straight from the people in the trenches, no corporate polish and no empty hype. So just the truth about what it takes to win in business and in life, from BAM Consulting to BAM Entrepreneurial, and now a rebranding.
Yes.
So today we sit down with Angel Garcia. Now, Angel, you've been through personal struggles, the loss of a business partner, going through a complete rebrand currently, and personal challenges that a lot of people find difficult to overcome successfully, right? So here you are. And before we get into all of that, I want to go back to before the company, to before the loss. And I want you to tell me who you were before all of this happened, right? So who was that kid that grew up to be the man sitting here today?
Well, first off, Tina, thank you for that amazing introduction. Who was I before? So I was a career student. I was able to get good jobs. I always performed well at the job. Was able to move up. I was a good sheep, right? But always with the sheep that knew it didn't need to be a sheep,
Right.
right? It's almost like I was choosing because that's the easy route. I'm a consumer of knowledge. I'm an avid bookworm. And I read anything. I have read all the major spiritual texts, right? The Bibles, the Qurans, the Bhagavad Gita. I've read it because I'm interested in that. I've always been very grateful and I lived a life of service, both to others, but also for myself, because I was really just a hippie floating in the wind, right? And not really following anything, not having a one solid, this is me, because that's the reason I have no tattoos, because commitment.
Right. So were you like this? Were you like this when you were younger?
Yes.
So your family life, so your mom, your dad, was that something that they saw this is how they saw you? Right?
Yes, I was always a free spirit.
Okay.
My mother's from Guadalajara.
Okay.
She came here when she was 4 because my grandmother married William Steinbeck. He was my grandfather for ever since I can remember. He was from West Virginia, and he and his family were snowbirds. So they used to go to Mexico during the winter season,
Oh, wow.
right? And when he brought them back, Mom was so advanced that they skipped her grades after her first year here,
Wow.
which, she feels was a disservice because she didn't get to fully lean into the American,
Right.
educational system. But she's brilliant. She has her master's in English,
Okay.
right? My father grew up here in Alpine
Okay.
and Marfa area. So if there's a Garcia out there, we're probably related
All right.
from that area. Grandfather, on my dad's side, was a horse whisperer. So when the ranchers were having a troubled horse, they would call him and his brother out as the only ones that could break the horse.
Okay.
And if they couldn't break it, there's nobody could break the horse. It's
Time to move on.
local legends, right?
Right.
World War II vet, landed on the beaches in Normandy. It's a miracle that we are here,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
That movie, Saving Private Ryan,
Okay.
like when my historian as well. So when he traced where my grandfather had gone through, I was like, that's eerily similar, right?
Right.
Put together a tag group of, and my grandfather was in the Misfits group because he was always a troublemaker,
Oh.
So, but they went through and did World War II thing,
Wow.
Came back, married my grandmother. They had 11 kids. My dad was the oldest. And he put himself through his degree playing music. He was a trumpet player.
Okay.
So, he got off the bat, he got a master's in his in accounting of all things, and ended up working for Conoco.
All right.
And then that one company was loyal to them for 38 years.
Wow. Did he stay and he retired with Conoco?
Yes.
Okay.
Retired through Conoco.
And your mom and dad, are they still married?
They married. They just celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary.
Wow. Well, happy
Yeah.
anniversary.
It-
They listen. It's amazing.
It's amazing. Yeah.
That's wonderful. You don't see that very often
No,
nowadays.
no.
Yeah.
We had a nice little party for him.
Yeah. So did you
Yeah.
grow up here in Midland, Odessa then? You
No.
said your dad was Alpine, Marfa.
Right. So I was born here in Midland,
Okay.
but by the time I was 3, we moved, and 6 times before I graduated high school.
Wow.
I ended up in the middle of 7th grade, moving to Pecos, Texas.
Okay.
That's where I graduated high
Oh,
school from. Yeah.
that's pretty neat. So the Pecos Rodeo, all the big
Oh, yeah.
things. Yes.
Yeah. Definitely part
Yeah.
of me growing up there.
Richard, I bet your dad enjoyed that too. Do the horses and the things that the grandparents, right?
He
No?
liked around him, but he wasn't the cowboy.
Oh, okay.
He was on work. He'd early and he'd stay late. Just providing for his family.
Right.
and-
Yeah, most Americans, I mean, that's what they do. So all right. So we asked, if I sat here and said, example, your 15-year-old self, what are you going to be? And what are you going to do with your life? What would you have said?
I don't know. It'll work out. That's that thinking back then. Oh, it'll work out.
Has your thinking
Yeah.
changed as we sit here today?
Yes. Right. Because, well, I think that's still in the background. That's still like an underlying layer.
Right.
It will work out. I've always been positive.
Belief.
Yes. Belief it will work out. Now, I think what's the difference is now I know what I want to work out,
Right.
which before, hey, it's a crapshoot. I don't.
Right. Well, the commitment and that was
Gotta commit to it,
that
right?
could have been a struggle.
What do I commit to?
That's it. You've been committed to BAM, pretty much all BAM things for
Mhm.
quite some time now, right?
So we're
How many years?
5.5 years deep.
Okay.
We founded 2020.
All right.
Right. We set this up just a couple weeks before the pandemic shut everything down.
I was going to say that's a tough time to start a business.
These customers are businesses.
Yeah. So describe to me, tell me what BAM does stand for.
So there's a
That
lot of
difference.
things. So there's business accelerators and mentorship,
Okay.
business advertising and marketing,
Okay.
right? There's business acquisitions and mergers, right?
Okay.
But the original reason for there was 3 founders.
All right.
There was Brian, myself, Angel, and Michael.
All right.
Yeah.
We're going to get to Michael here in just a
Yes.
little bit. I want to hear all about that. But, and this can kind of come back to Michael a little bit. Who was the first person who really believed in you when you decided to be maybe your earlier age? So let me back up a little bit.
Sure.
So what is the first job that you had that you realized that you want to go down this entrepreneurial experience in life?
First job I had. Well, my first job was at Kentucky Fried Chicken.
All right.
And that's just for cash. And I had friends that were working
Can you
there.
still eat there today after working there?
Not a
Just
lot.
random
That-
in the weeds question.
It's not my first choice.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah,
But I'm
for
not
sure.
opposed to it if it's, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you worked at KFC.
Yeah.
What did you decide after you left there and started your own thing?
So I went to college after that.
Okay.
I went to UTEP.
All
That was
right.
my first college. And I went there for psychology, not because I thought I was going to have a career in it, but because I was interested in psychology. I was already reading about Freud and Jung and Rogers and all these, great psychology who formed the actual discipline of psychology, right? So, I noticed that in the first class, it's like, well, I know more about psychology than, what are we in here for? And then I learned that if I graduated with a degree in psychology, that I was going to have to get my doctorate to make any real money. So like, oh, well, I don't want to be in college for 10 years. Me,
We'll
right?
get to that, yeah.
So then I just hopped around different majors, and basically for the longest time I was general studies because I just took random classes. Whatever they would let me take that I saw that it was interesting and it lined up with my work schedule, I take it.
Okay, so
You know?
did you ever from there and then
Oh, no.
decide to have a family and do the kids?
So I didn't have married till I was 28.
Okay.
I had my daughter when I was almost 30. So in between there, it was just, I was a music industry performer, recording artist for a while, had my own band, just worked lots of different jobs,
Yeah.
all kinds of different jobs. When I was in Austin, I worked in the semiconductor industry a lot.
Okay.
Worked for AMD, Applied Materials, Texas Instruments, and Apple.
All right.
Apple fun.
Okay, yeah. What did you do from college transition into the family? Which-
Oh, yeah, that was
You did good.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so when I met my wife, I was really into AMD,
Okay.
and we had just started our bit of live band.
All right.
Yeah,
What instrument did you play?
I am the instrument.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
was a
Oh, wow. All right.
right. So that was one of the things that really, like, I see everything that I've ever done in my life,
Mm-hmm.
all aspects, everything that I was interested in, it's kind of culminated into what I do now.
Right.
Like every aspect of what I do now stemmed from my interests leading up to this. If you were to ask me to put this together, I wouldn't have been able to.
Right.
So I wouldn't have, it just happened. Like,
Yeah.
it'll work out.
At the
That's what
beginning,
it is.
it'll work out.
Yeah.
There's always a plan. God always
Somehow,
has a
somewhere.
plan,
Yeah.
for sure. So you had a kid, you got married,
Yeah.
you had a daughter. Is the
Had a
only daughter,
daughter.
I guess.
Only daughter. Yes. Yes.
All right.
One done. Yeah. No, she's a blessing. I'm actually moving her to Austin.
All right.
Yeah. She's so full circle. She's moved.
Yeah, that's awesome. What is she going to Austin for?
For nursing.
Okay.
She just completed her CNA. And she's already applying for jobs. She's already, she knows what she's going to do. She's going to go live up there with her brother,
All right.
her brother's family. And she's going to just go to school, go all the way. She wants to get her nurse prac. So super proud of her. Yeah.
Good for her. It sounds like you distilled some commitment into her, I guess, a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, there you go.
I'd like to say that she raised me more than I ever had a chance to raise her.
That's all right. You got to have that, So she's going off. You had a kid. We're going to go back to kind of where you're at here. So you got married, you had a kid, things are cruising along. We had talked previously before this podcast about some business ventures that you dabbled into, right?
Yeah.
So tell me about those. You had what, 4 or so, something like that? So tell me a little bit about that and kind of how you got into those.
So when I moved here from Austin,
Mm-hmm.
I got a job soon, literally driving into town.
Okay.
So this is a cool story I hadn't thought of in a while. I'm in the U-Haul, driving into town. Austin's in the background, looking in the mirror, there's the skyline. I'm like, all right, well, next chapter, let's go.
Here we go.
And I get a call from an old roommate of mine in Austin who was from here. And he was like, hey, man, I've been thinking about you. Just thought I'd give you a holler. And I was like, bro, you won't believe this. He was like, what? I'm driving to Odessa. Oh, yeah, what, are you coming for the weekend? I'm coming back. He's like, what? Oh, wow. So we start talking. He's like, and he was a manager at a forklift company.
Okay.
And he says, I'm actually hiring right now. Do you want to? I was like, dude, yeah, I need something, right?
For sure.
So had a job just driving into town. So, all right, cool. I can, I don't have to go out looking now. Now it's manageable, right? I can have something coming in. And I had a house in Austin, which I sold, right? So it allowed me to keep my savings, keep what I had sold it for without spending it on looking,
Right.
So I was like, okay, this is working out great. And worked there for a couple years. And he ended up leaving to start his own hotshot company.
All right.
So then every once in a while, when he needed somebody, I would do a job for him, right? Just in my off time on the weekends.
One of his trucks and
Right.
rigs. Okay.
Well, and then if it's small enough, I'd do it in my truck,
Oh, okay.
just off the grid kind of deal, right? And so when it happened, it was like, well, I got to a point where I had an opportunity. We went together and I bought my own truck. Where he helped out, bought a truck. I bought my trailer. And so started hotshot. And then when that got where I was having to call in because there was so much work, I just said, I left work and there I go. Now I'm on my entrepreneurial journey, right?
Yep. First one, right?
They're
First
off the
one. Here we
gate.
go.
And doing that, then I got into mobile car detail.
Well, let me ask you a question real quick on your first journey. When you quit that job and you jumped into full throttle, we're going all into this hotshot business.
Yeah.
Did you have fears going into that and doubts stepping that new career path?
No.
What's up? Let's go.
Let's go.
All right.
This is where I'm focused at. This is anything behind, right?
Right.
Because I always wanted to be my own business owner. I'd always to do that. I just had never taken that step. I'd never had the opportunity to where, just do that. Okay, I could do that. I'd always wanted to because my dad made a comment when I was a kid. We were at a Taco Villa and he said, yeah, I had an idea very just like this. I wanted to open up my little taco burrito shop. I was like, Dad wanted to be a business owner. Noted, right? And it just stuck with me. Just a random comment he made, not even thinking anything of it, but it stuck with me. And so it was just always there under the surface. Right.
What part of that did you get from that that feel like made it stick so hard with you?
The fact that he made a choice he took the secure route of making sure his family was cared for, even though I know if he would have taken the risk, he would have been successful at it.
Right.
But he chose to stick where he was already going, because he had gotten the job and I don't know what his plans were. I should probably have a conversation with him about this, but maybe he was wanting to work until he was able to start something. But in that process, he met my mom, and started a family right off the bat. I mean, they were married a year after they met,
right?
And haven't looked back. So I think once he got married, he needed to make sure that he had a paycheck coming in, no risk. I think that I was in a position to take the risk.
Attention business leaders and entrepreneurs. The Focus Conference is coming this September 19th, and you could attend for free. We're giving away 4 free tickets to the most inspiring video submissions. Here's how to enter. In 60 to 90 seconds, tell us who you are, what your business is, and why you want to attend the Focus Conference. This is your chance to learn from world-class speakers like Les Brown, Paul Martinelli, Ed Milet, Dan Nicholas, and more, all in one powerful event designed to ignite your success. Submit your entry today and join a community of driven, high-achieving leaders. For complete details, visit aolleadership.com and be sure to send your video entry directly to us at info@bmconsulting.com. Don't miss it. Your next big breakthrough starts at Focus Conference 2025.
I was in a position to where I didn't have a lot of overhead,
So you felt comfortable taking that risk?
Yes. Yeah, it was just good positioning. I was like, yeah, let's go.
So you started your hotshot business.
Started the hotshot. Then as that was going good, got that machine rolling, we became a mobile detail. I already had a truck, just got a small little trailer, got the rig, got everything I need, and was doing that.
All right.
So I was doing that. Those were my 2 moneymakers, hotshot and mobile detail, car wash.
Okay.
And I've been in the music business forever, so I was a DJ. Yeah. So, I would DJ weddings, quinceañeras, and,
a little extra income.
Yeah, and it's fun hanging out on the weekend.
Yes.
You go to a backyard party and free food, free beer. Here you go. Plus you get paid.
Right.
Plus you're doing it's making people happy.
Right.
You have the right music and people are dancing, having a great time. They're requesting and it's just a great time, And then I lawn care, that was something that was seasonal and just a little bit extra cash. I started taking care of my grandmother's yard. And then neighbors would ask, and then the other neighbor would ask. And then before you know it, I was like,
You have a
okay,
business.
there's a business, right? There's regular
Right.
income, you
Right.
know, like once a month or every couple, you know.
Yeah.
So that was fun, all four at the same time.
So you started with, you're going to work at KFC for a while. You're going to move to Austin. You're going to do that. You're going to do the college thing. So we're building right here,
Yeah.
right? So you're starting to dabble into your entrepreneurness.
Mhm.
Okay. So you've got your hot shot, you've got your mobile wash, just touching base back on all
Mhm.
this. You've got your DJing and, your lawn care. Did something happen where you decided that, man, I'm gonna go bigger? Or
Yeah.
did what happened to that?
Well, it's, you hit rock bottom, right? Things don't work out how you think they are. So, and this, I tell this story that, you could literally write a country song
Right.
based on this like 30, 45 day period of my life.
I'm gonna wait for that to come
Okay.
out because you are a musician, so
Yes.
rapper.
Don't hold your breath, man. So my hot truck engine blows. So I was not prepared for it. I for all the maintenance, the cost of operating, tires, oil changes, fuel, right? That was taking a huge toll that I didn't think about before jumping in, right? It was just like, oh, right, you can charge that much for going 100 miles? Yeah, I'm in. That's money, right? So I didn't have a lot saved up. I always had cash in my pocket, but I didn't have, I wasn't planning. I wasn't thinking ahead.
Right.
So that was going to cost a good 12, 15,000 just to replace that one. It's like, if I had that, I'd put it down on a new one,
Right.
So, okay, we'll figure it out. So I'm leaning on my mobile detail. I'm just leaning on that now. That's all I got. Plus the occasional DJ gig and plus some yard work. But, I increased for that, but it's still not enough. And plus, that's just laborious. You're putting a lot of back-breaking work. And that's not how I wanted to survive. I didn't survive, right? So then my mobile detail rig gets stolen from the front of my house, chains cut and everything. So, they knew. So my two biggest money makers are gone, right? And there's no way DJing and lawn care are going to be my bread and butter, I guess now looking back, I could probably start a landscaping company and scale based on what I know now.
Right. But at the time, you didn't go to college for business.
No.
You got somebody thrown at you and said, hey, jump in here. Cool, let's do it,
Cool. Yeah.
And went for it, not knowing, obviously, what you just said, what you know now.
Right.
Do you feel like it would have been more successful if you did know what you do now?
Absolutely. Yeah, because I look back and I can see, okay, I just need to do this. Oh, I had to actually get an LLC and like do my books, right? Like, design a website, do some marketing, put the name out, and push it.
Right. Yeah. Did you have anybody back then to help you with any of that?
No, not at all. There was no.
How did your family feel about you starting this business? You left where you were working, and you just,
how they felt about me starting BAM?
Yeah, no, how felt about you starting your hot shot and your stuff like that, just jumping into a new venture here.
Yeah, I think that they were hopefully they're always optimistic, and they're always supportive.
Okay,
right. So, if anybody was my grandmother, who was, are you,
Yeah.
and I was like, I'll be okay, grandma. She's like, I know you will, but.
Are you sure?
Are you sure?
That's it. Okay, so you lost your stuff. Then what'd you decide to do after that? You lost your mobile
hot shot was sold. So I sold the trailer.
Okay.
And went back to school because at the same time, that was rock bottom. Also, that's when the decision was made to get divorced. Okay. And at the end of the last thing that happened was my daughter's little dog got ran over.
That's definitely
right in front of the house, right? So, and he wasn't around too long, maybe 6 or 8 months. We've only had him. And when he got ran over, my daughter was crushed. Yeah. I was crushed. She was crushed. And then I was already kind of defeated at that point. I was like, well, you know what? I'm done. I'm not a business owner. I'm not out for this. Let me go back to school and just finish my degree, because I had I had so many hours. I had more hours than a couple degrees already at this point. Just nothing that was consistent enough.
In a committed style, like in a committed way, right?
No commitment here. No responsibility. So I decided I'm going to go finish my history degree and just teach history at the local high school.
Oh.
You know, I'm all the justifications.
Yeah.
Holidays off, summers off,
Decent
you know.
insurance.
Right,
Yeah.
right. It's a living, you know, it's a honest trade. So during that time, I had to, then I was Spanish speaking algebra.
All right.
Right.
So you're very fluent in Spanish.
Not very,
Oh.
not at all. But I can get along. Right.
Yeah.
Usually when I'm speaking in Spanish, they see that I'm really trying,
Right.
so they'll help me out.
There you go.
Right. And I always say, and see, I'm all chopping that up.
That's
right.
okay.
But they that I'm doing my best because I want to communicate with them. And so they help me out. So it works out. Right.
Yeah.
But no public. I was asked recently by the Hispanic Chamber to do a Spanish, at a speak conference. And they said, how do you in Spanish? I was like, one question, one-on-one, like you're sending a client to me, or public speaking? Not happening.
Not today.
No.
Not today.
I'm working on it though.
There you go.
It's something that, because my mom's from Mexico and she's an English teacher, right? So there's a whole story behind that. Because when I first, as I was fluent, that's why it's still there somewhere.
Right.
Right. But my brain's wired to think in English, so that when I speak Spanish, I'm still trying to speak through an English prism.
Yes.
And it doesn't work.
I see.
Yeah. It's because when I started going to school, second grade, I think, I wasn't doing so well. My parents were like, well, he's a smart kid. He always performs above average. Like, why, they started asking what's going on. So they thought it was because they were speaking too much Spanish in the household. So they went cold turkey from Spanish, and it's nothing but English.
Wow.
So that, and for years I had to deal with that. That's something that it left because I thought there was something wrong with me, right? Like, oh, Spanish. So Spanish is the reason,
Yeah.
So I kind of had a chip on my shoulder after that while I was very young. So I then, at times where I refused, even though I knew that I could say and communicate, I just simply refused.
Right.
Because, I'm better than that. Or I don't know, it was just a weird time.
Right.
So now all these years later, I'm really trying
to get back into
right.
it.
Because I know if I could, I could affect so many more people.
Definitely.
Right. So it's something that I'm working on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you went to college, went back to college. You're going to get your degree.
History degree. Right. So I was talking with the principal at Permian.
Okay.
And he says, hey, we'll have a spot open. And I told him, yeah, I graduate, this coming spring. So I'll be available for the history degree. And he said, yeah, we're going to have a spot come open for an algebra teacher.
Perfect. Right in line with what you want to do.
I was like, yeah, I'm getting my degree in history, and he was like, yeah, that doesn't matter. Okay. Red flag. I didn't really do that. My heart wasn't really in it anyway. So I'm going to use that. Like, no, I'm not going to be a teacher. So I changed my major into business.
Okay.
And the rest is that. Then I met my mentor, my business partner, Michael Crane. He was teaching there at UTBB. He was volunteer teaching.
Okay.
Because he had already built and sold off several businesses. He didn't have to work. The first class I took, I walk in and, I'm like 36 at this, and, I'm the old guy in class with a lot of 20 somethings.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just trying to stay out of sight, kind of in the shadows, get the information, take the test, go home, go to work, just take care of everything, right? And then there's walking to classes, there's this debonair gentleman in a full suit, not a suit, you could tell like that. It's high quality. Had the Rolex, had the gold chains, had the Armani slippers on.
Yeah. This is somebody.
And he's up there talking like a sailor to these kids, right? He's just telling jokes and they're laughing. They're just eating him up. There's like anything he says, they're just loving him, right? And at this point, I've taken a lot of college classes.
Right.
Like, I think I was like around 300 hours or more.
Goodness.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And so, he's the only professor that I've ever met that was like that. I met some great professors before, right? I've made good friends with a lot of professors. But this guy was just way different. And so we became really good friends.
Yeah.
he was a faculty advisor for this student association, Enactus.
Okay.
And it started off as SIFE, then it was Enactus, and basically an entrepreneurial, social, community organization for students.
Okay.
And we ton of projects on campus together. We got in trouble together. He would down and he'd act like he was limping because he just, talked to the principal, got in trouble.
Okay.
And he'd point at us that we got him in trouble. But he loved it though. He would get to the guy he was. He would go to bat for us.
Yeah.
He would the heat from the higher ups so we could get the experience.
Awesome.
Just this the type of guy you want, leading you, right? And he affected so many kids' lives. Like even to this day, if I, run into somebody that was a student, it's love and remembrance of Michael, how he impacted. He changed lives. So we just become really good friends. We started My Falcon Radio. When Falcon football, we got the team, right? We didn't have student media. I mean, they did, but it was just a newspaper.
Right.
And so we're like, well, we have college football. We got to have college radio. And so that was our mission, college radio, right? So obviously there's no radio, but that was the goal. So social media was really huge at the time. Right?
Yeah, it was blowing up.
It was blowing up. That was when it was
Sure.
peaking, right?
Mhm.
Coming out. So we just collect, students, members, everybody was joining in. Oh, I want to be a reporter. Oh, I want to do this, There's a couple people that went through that they had careers in like media now.
Oh, wow.
That was their ground to get there. I mean, I'm talking about working for ESPN, working for several news stations in the Dallas area,
Wonderful.
larger markets. We'd podcast here. So My Falcon Radio, the Falcon Fly Zone was the first podcast on the UTPB campus
Awesome.
ever. And we knocked out with over 100 episodes where we had a partnership with CBS 7,
Okay.
So we was, and it was a huge project. And I really, we very hard to keep it as an ongoing thing. But that's when it changed, and there's just a lot of changes going on, and that's when we were transitioning out. So
Right.
it didn't last, but it was, and we had there was a lot of experience gained from that.
It sounds like you made a pretty big, y'all made a pretty big footprint, a little imprint
Yes.
on that. Tell me a struggle, kind of a fun little struggle that maybe you went through, whether some issues with the equipment, like, did y'all have anything like that y'all had to overcome, or kind of a moment, that you had?
Yeah. So there was one game where we were giving raffling gift baskets.
Okay.
Right. From Dillard's. And wow, I've never told this story before.
That's
So
how we're
here, yeah.
Right.
So first half, things are good.
Mhm.
We're getting tickets out. I'm messaging back and forth with the sports time is Steve Isanina. Hey Steve, hope you're listening. Good to see you the other day, buddy. About the tickets and when they're gonna announce it and when they're gonna announce the winners, right? And then a tornado
Oh,
is sighted, touch ground, not far. So everything shuts down, right?
Mhm.
Well, in the chaos, in the melee of shutting the game down and everybody'd have to take cover and we're in the restroom hiding, we're just, it's tense. And, then the storm comes and, well, all of our equipment was scattered everywhere. The tickets were scattered. The box where we had collected the tickets were scattered. The baskets stayed intact, but like things were in the back of other people's trucks. Because usually at the end of the night, we huddle up, everything comes together, and then we take it to the same place. But when this happened, everybody just, yeah. So then they announced, well, I missed part. This is probably the worst part, where the game's going to get taken back up in the morning.
Oh.
Yeah. So there I am in the morning, like, where is everything? Where are the baskets? Where are the tickets? And so get to the game, and then so-and-so was supposed to be there. They're not there. And someone else show up, and I'm like, oh yeah, it was in his truck. We look, not in his truck.
Uh-huh.
So like, what to do? Because Isanina is already announcing where we left off the day before.
Oh.
So people are expecting who have tickets who were there the night before. for this raffle for these nice Diller's gift baskets. Yeah. So, I forgot dear the name. She was such a sweet, sweet little lady. She used to work in an office. And every time you go and you sign up or you pay for your classes, she was there and she just chat you up,
All right.
you know, like you were her niece or nephew,
Right.
you know, and just talked to you the whole time. And she made you feel good when you went in to pay your,
Yeah.
tuition. Well, she was there and I decided to award her a basket and then announce it. Oh, look, you won.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Right. So we did that for both baskets. I can't remember who the other one went to, but I felt really good about that one.
Yes, for sure.
It went someone who appreciated. She was so happy. For
Very
me,
well
that was a
deserved.
win. Not so much for the people who donated the basket. They weren't too happy with us.
Well.
You know. But yeah, so that was like the most hectic, chaotic, right? But there was this other time where we had prepared a full intro, right, for them to come out on. And that's back when we had the media. So we had a camera, I had these flashing lights, and I had the team suit up, and they were, making to their intro song to come out on the field. And they on the field, but then they were supposed to play it halftime on the big screen. And so we gathered all the students that were involved in the media. And, some of them were with the Falcon flock. Some of them were the cheerleaders. Some of them were just media people that were covering the game. So we all go out there, and even Falcon Freddy, right, in his uniform, and the mascot, we're sitting out there like just about to look at the screen and see what we put together. Because it was a collaborative work.
Okay.
Like I asked for ideas from everybody, and I kind of took all those ideas and threaded them together in this video.
All right.
Well, they never played it. And we were all sitting out there waiting for it. So that was like the most, I guess, defeating moment for us, right? Because we had prepared so much for it.
Big punch.
Yeah, we had hyped it up, right? Everybody, hey, stay for halftime. We're going to, the whole deal. And it didn't play. So a lot of the students were really, really lit by that.
A lot of people go through life, I feel like, and they get a lot of punches,
Yeah.
What is one way that you encourage them and help them kind of come out of that?
That it's a silver lining in everything, right? Even at your worst moments, there's a lesson there, right? And I think this came actually earlier, a healthy detachment from outcomes, because what we go through, it's there for a reason. It happens for a reason. Nothing happens in an absolute vacuum. There's I think there's different viewpoints. Like you either meaning to everything, or there's meaning in nothing. It's things happen, or things just happen, right? So I think it's right. There's always this. The way you look at it is like, is it happening to me, or is it happening for me? And there's power in being aware, self-awareness. When something happens, okay, where's your perspective at? And what can you learn from this? Do you want to learn from this?
That's the other thing. Do you want to?
Yeah.
A lot of people don't look at it that way, for sure. So did the Falcon radio shut down while you were still there?
No.
This was after.
Yeah, shut down after, because we tried to keep it going. We handed it off.
Right.
And it I think it stayed around for another semester. It just really, nobody kind of really grabbed it by the horns and went in with it. Like, because we were hands-on with it.
Right.
We were very, hey, this is our baby. It has to be this. We had partnerships with CBS 7, and then the West Texas Radio Group, I think, was the ones who were running the radio side of it. And we went through a lot with that. We really did. We went through internal battles there with the student newspaper who had been there since the 70s. We get it, right? But we were in a different era, and students at that time weren't reading a newspaper. I know it's horrible to say, but it's true.
Right.
Like everything was going digital.
It is. I don't know a lot that still grab a newspaper. When I was younger, it was a 3-fee nickel.
Right.
Now you can't hardly find.
No.
And if you do, it's to pack boxes.
I was going to say, when you're moving, that's plenty of
That's
it.
it. So
Yeah.
I still kind of do that. So your business partner, how did this come about? This business venture, this business
Mm,
partner,
yeah. Yeah.
kind of tell me that transition because
Yeah.
you're in college, you have this friend, you're
Mhm.
a professor, and how did that relationship grow?
So he had became the executive director of the SBDC,
Okay.
and I was going to when I graduated with my bachelor's.
Mhm.
My idea was like, I'm going back to Austin, right? I'm leaving, and he said, why don't you stick around, get your master's? I'm looking to hire somebody with a master's, so work for me, and then when you graduate, go wherever you want. Okay, and it made sense, because my daughter at that time was just getting into junior high,
Okay.
and she wanted to leave. Because she was born in Austin, so she wanted to go back to Austin.
I see.
But I kind of felt like junior high is like a really crucial age. Her mom here, and she would have gone with me, no doubts about it. But the fact is like, you know what? I'm in school. Let me go ahead and finish it off too. So everything kind of lined up, right? So I was like, okay, this makes sense. Okay, I'll stay. 2 years, I worked as a consultant there at the SBDC. Kind of cut my teeth on business plans and all the financials and that whole business world. Plus, my boss was a extremely successful multi-entrepreneur, who had built and sold off companies and didn't have to work anymore. I'm like, okay, like I want to be like him.
Yeah.
So who better to be while I'm working to get my master's in my, not just in anything, it's a degree. So I'm in school learning the foundations of the book, right? And then I have him telling his theories and his, espousing his beliefs in business and when he's teaching. So I'm just soaking him up. And, like I said, we were in just a mentor relationship. We were good friends. We had a lot in common. We same sick sense of humor, right? So we would laugh at the sickest stuff, right? They were like, I like you.
This is why we're friends.
This we're friends, yeah. And when I graduated in the winters, and he and one of the other business consultants, he said, "Hey guys, let's start a business really? With you." Like, doing what? He was like, "Well, this, but like for real, because at the SBDC, it's government funded,
Mhm.
it's university funded. So with funding, there's constraints,
Right.
right? You can this, you can't do that, you can't do that, and you can't do this."
But technically within that, you are building a business, right? You're building something up within that SB,
The SBDC.
SBDC.
But you're helping build their business,
Oh.
right?
Right.
And one of the requirements is they had to put on seminars, workshops,
Okay.
educational aspect. And since he was a former teacher, right? Well, he was owner entrepreneur before he ever became a teacher, before he even got degrees, right? He had owned and sold off businesses before even thinking about school, right? So we went in about it reverse ways.
Yeah.
Which I think is why it worked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as you say opposites, kind
Yeah.
of, but and then you
They
met
in the middle. Yeah. Because he had the gritty, hands-on building a business sense. And then he went into the academia where he was able to articulate it in a curriculum sense,
Yes.
right? To organize it, right?
Yes.
Right. Whereas whole life I was academia,
Mhm.
going to school, jumping through hoops, passing this test. What do you need? Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And then I'm learning hands-on business,
Yeah.
right? So, so there's three of us,
Uh-huh.
and BAM. We were talking earlier
Yes.
what it stands for, right? So the real original meaning is our initials of the founders, right?
Mhm.
Brian, Angel, Michael. Brian moved back really early on he was from Chicago.
And this is all happening in 2019, right? Like towards the end of 2019?
Very end of 2019.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And then the first of 2020,
Mhm.
right? January, February, we're kind of working behind the scenes just to prepare. We did our LLC, doing our logo. Michael's he was at website, so he was building our website. We'd build one and then we critique it, then he'd trash it, build another one, we'd critique it, right? Just getting it where we wanted. And so I last time on the 2020, right? So 2 weeks before the pandemic hits, we start the business. And it's like jump off the plank. And halfway down, I'm like, no, nothing but sharks. I'm like looking back. Can I come back? And like, no, I'm
You jumped.
I jumped.
You jumped.
I jumped.
So I have a question for you here. When I asked you earlier in the conversation if it scared you or if you had any fear
Mm.
barriers or anything jumping into
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
trucking and that business,
Yeah.
you said no.
No.
You went for it.
Yeah.
Send it.
Yeah.
I like to use that word.
Yeah.
So now
Mhm.
you've had education, you've had college, you've had a mentor, you've had your Falcon radio.
Yeah.
Like y'all been doing all of this stuff over here.
Yeah.
You're mentally and academically better than what you were.
Right.
And the pandemic hits and you're backpedaling. You're like,
Yeah.
why? What changed? What's the in the two?
So before the pandemic, there's this, a weird sickness going around, right? We're like, okay, it'll blow over. Big deal, right?
Mhm.
But then the governor literally shuts jobs that we already had, said, who we already got the yes, right? They just hadn't sent the check yet. But we had the yes commitment. Oh yeah, we're gonna do the job down. Oh yeah, we can do that. We all of a sudden went to, oh sorry, can't do it now. Sorry, can't do it now. Oh, we're not gonna be able to. Oh, we're not gonna. Hey, let's wait till after all this is over. Like not just one, not just two, but everybody we had on board. There was very few that they were like, okay, let's go for it anyway, right?
Did you have going through this? They're saying sorry, can't, or closing.
Mm.
Did you have a flashback from when you had the trucking and the hot shotting and you were having to pay for tires and fuel?
Mhm.
And are you with me?
Yeah. So it was a different type.
Okay.
It was a
Explain that.
So when I had the trucking company, those were like things I could control.
Mhm.
And this was more of it's out of my, no matter what we do, there's no cost savings of, strategies that we can implement that's going to change anything, right? Like, okay, like with the truck, okay, I probably have a good 6 more months on the tires. I can stretch the oil change, for maybe a couple thousand miles. I'll just, be efficient won't use the air conditioner. So make the fuel last long, like little things like that. And, so it was things that could manipulate, right, to work in. This was just a complete unknown because even Michael, who had been through ups and downs in business, he would tell me all kinds of stories of how he barely made it. And it was by the skin of your teeth that he got that one phone call that he didn't have to shut down. And from then on, it blew up. And, he had been through tough times. Even he was like,
Radiate fear off of him. Kind of, did you pick up on any of that from him during that time?
Yeah, he was definitely, even though, we had the pep talk, like, hey, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna just keep working, just keep looking, because at that time we didn't have overhead too, right? And he didn't need an income, right? I was in a good place at that time where I didn't need an income. I was going to live all I'd been fairly some investments early on. I was always a good saver. I always saved my money. So I had stashes everywhere.
Right.
So that's what I was going on this. I was like, okay, my only expense is my fuel, cell phone, and insurance.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I got to eat too. Right. But that's your basics, right?
Right.
You cut out, you cut out all these extra little things that everybody just take for granted. Your gym memberships, all those things that $9 here, $10 here, $20 here, no big deal. Well, when you don't have something steady coming in, that's a big deal.
It is.
Right. So I learned real quick, discipline. Discipline's another thing about me that we should probably talk about, because I am not a disciplined person. I'm a hippie from the wind. Right. There's no structure to me.
Yeah.
So before I had gone on my business journey, I really got into, I always kind of had on edge, but I really took a deep dive into personal development, growth, learning what I can, how can I improve? How can I not just, now I went from just consuming to be like, oh yeah, I know that. That's conceptually thing that makes sense, to actually, okay, let me practice and implement this into my life.
When did this
Yeah.
take place? When you started
When I was with,
kind of implementing all of this?
I was, I had started, I was at school. This had to be like 2014, 2015. And when I started business school, yeah. And we went to a conference,
Okay.
and I got to meet, but before I met him, he gave a speech. Admiral McRaven,
All right.
right? He was the I forgot the title, but he was a high up with UT Austin.
Okay.
And he gave the speech where he taught, and he wrote a book about it too. About, if you want the world, start by making up your bed. Okay, I didn't get first, right? I was like, what does making your bed have to do with changing the world, right? I mean, I want to change. That's something I've always wanted to do. Like, oh yeah, I want to change the world, right? Because, well, let's rewind this. When I was in Austin, I was an activist. I would go to the Capitol and I would talk to senators and congressmen about marijuana laws, and legalizing cannabis.
Okay.
That was something that, hey, if we're going to say we're free, let's follow through on this, guys, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing free about this, right?
Yeah.
So we're in America. Come on, right? This should be free, right? You're gonna let me buy poison, tequila or vodka, but I can't get a plant that's
Right.
could be so much better for me. Doesn't make any sense. So fast forward, and I hear him give the speech, and something flipped.
Lots.
Literally, yeah, switch. It went, and I was like, okay. So immediately, come back home. Next day, I make up my bed, and I've been doing it ever since. So that's the one thing that is an anchor. I don't even, I brush my teeth every day, okay? But what I'm saying, if I miss a day, no big deal, but I don't miss making up my bed.
Yeah.
And for some reason, that one little anchor has impacted everything else, because it taught me I be to be disciplined, So that right there, I think that has really, really changed it for me. That who I am now as opposed to who I was before. Because who I was before, making up the bed is insane. Why? I'm just going to get back,
Yes.
Even though, I always just thought it was one of these things that my mom would make me to do to assert control.
Right.
Right? Well, you can't control me. Nobody can control, But so now that I'm older, it's like, oh, that makes sense. That's why you wanted me to make the bed. Okay, I get it.
Disciplined.
Disciplined.
Something.
And then I started into the whole discipline, optimization, human optimization world, right? Development, growth. Jocko Willink, his discipline equals freedom, right? That's another oxymoron. And I was like, wait, discipline equals freedom? No, that doesn't make. Once you implement it, you understand, right? Because the discipline, through you put yourself on tracks.
Yeah.
You have boundaries. They are your steadily daily routines. Where it allows you to be free, and that's a big I've learned here later in life that I would have never thought was a thing.
Yeah. So with the discipline and staying on track and stuff, do you do focus time? Like have focus or any kind of mediation or meditation? Something, do you do stuff like that for yourself? And do you help teach that as
For sure. So I've been a meditation, energy, breathing coach 30-something years.
Wow.
Ever since, well, really, it was teens
Okay.
when I started picking up on that. I've always been right. So I'm consuming everything. So the Eastern disciplines of inner, the meditation, I was really into Qigong. And even before kind of realizing it, I had found this wooden staff and I carved it and I made it nice, put my initials in it. Well, I was in my parents' backyard. I would just spin that thing around and I would get in this meditative state. I didn't know what I was doing, right? It just felt good. Because if I could do that enough and be rhythmic about it, you put yourself into like a trance almost.
Yeah.
Everything is all your problems get thrown out. It's like drugs without the harm.
Yeah.
Right. Because you're centering yourself. Right.
Yeah.
And then I started reading about it and I started getting into it. But really at that point, it was just, okay, this is how you breathe. This is, from a biological perspective. If you breathe correctly, where you're using all of your lungs, right? Because if you're not thinking about it, you're just using the top of your lungs. That's where anxiety comes from, right? Because you don't have the oxygen in you. You need oxygen. And if your body's depleted of oxygen, you're going to freak out.
Yeah. A little bit.
It
A little bit. Did
So
you implement any of that breathing technique during your 2020 and what you through? I know a lot of people probably listening can relate to 2020.
yes, yes. So during COVID, in fact, I helped coach some in breathing, over Zoom during that time who
I see.
had contracted COVID,
Mhm.
and I have there's one pretty impactful story. A good friend of mine had grown up with him. He caught COVID. He caught every symptom there was and then some,
Oh man.
right? He called me from the hospital and he said, "Thank you for saving my life." Like, what? Because I hadn't talked to him.
Yeah.
Right. And I was, what do you mean? What do you, bro? Like, what's wrong? What do you, and he was like, "Well, I'm in the hospital right now." I was like, "Oh, why? What happened?" He's like, "Well, I caught COVID." "Oh, dude, how are you doing?" He was like, "A lot better now." They were going to put him on intubated. They're going to intubate him. Right. And he had already known, hey, you get intubated, you're going to die.
For sure.
Right. There's very slim chances of coming out.
Right.
So he fought him. And he said he was just at the end of his wits. He was intubate. But then I popped in his head and I was this guy. I had taught him breathing before,
Wow.
right? I had taught him the Wim Hof method. I had taught him basic instructions. I taught all my friends, right? All my friends knew that I was the guy,
Yeah.
right? So when I popped in his head, he was like, yeah, no, this, right? To use all my lungs. I can't. And so the reason I had taught him the deeper practices is he was an asthmatic.
Ah.
So when he would get into an attack, I used to coach him, breathe him out of it.
I see.
So when this happened to him, he said that he would go through that practice like 10 times a day.
Wow.
And he would just go. And little by little, a symptom would fall off. So then they stopped trying to intubate him.
Right.
And so now they were just caring for him, making him comfortable while he healed.
Wow.
So that's probably a story that, something that I did taught a long time ago that came full cycle, and it literally saved his life at that time. So I think that's the power of using our own to heal ourselves, because we do have the power to heal ourselves. Yeah.
And I think back to there's always a plan. So you said when you were younger, you didn't know what you were going to do. I asked you earlier, what would you tell your 15-year-old self? I have no idea. I don't know. But you tried all these different things. You did all this stuff. And then here we are years later, and it's kind of starting to come back into play.
Mm-hmm.
And you're starting to look back and say, man, that's why I did that, so that I could help with this.
Yeah.
And so what an amazing story that is. That's pretty awesome.
Couldn't have made it up.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
This episode of BAM BizTalk is brought to you by Flash Mobile. Whether you're managing your business, chasing your dreams, or just handling life on the go, Flash Mobile gives you nationwide for GLTE coverage. No contracts and total freedom, all at a price that makes sense. Activate your plan in minutes. Bring your own device. Stay in control wherever life takes you. Contact us and make the switch today. And now let's get back to today's show.
So tell me about your 2020 year. Business. You have people dropping off.
Yeah.
You're losing some business here, and you're kind of starting to panic.
Yeah. So things are looking pretty bleak.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody that we had, because it's like we count our chickens before they hatched.
Right.
We're like, oh yeah, we got all this work coming up.
Yeah, we already spent that paycheck next week. But
fortunately, we had one job, and it was a big job, and that one job was able to get us through the hump. So much so that we did not have to come out of pocket from our savings to keep ourselves afloat.
Wow.
So 2020, June or July, it was hot. It was the summer, middle of the summer.
Okay.
Where, we used to work out of Michael's home.
All right.
In a spare bedroom.
Yeah.
And one day we're sitting there working. He turns to me, we need to buy a building. He goes back to work. Wait, what? Buy a building?
We're in the middle of COVID, man.
Do you not see what's going on around here? But, in retrospect, he saw exactly what was going on, right?
Yeah.
And sure enough, we start putting feelers out to friends who are realtors and have them looking around. And we found one building on Wall Street, and it had a lot of extra offices to where the plan was, look, we buy this building, we're only going to use section. We're going to rent out all those other offices. That way we don't have to worry about rent.
Right.
It's paid. We just worried about building our business now, right? Well, we caught wind that that building had asbestos still.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was kind of a big deal because we were already in process of buying it.
Oh.
We hadn't signed the final papers, but they were being drafted.
Oh, wow.
Like we had already said, okay, yeah, we want it. Let's follow through. So during the time, that's when we found out that it was asbestos, or we were free to walk because we hadn't actually signed anything.
Yeah.
So there's no penalties. And plus with asbestos, hey, this was not disclosed like up front, right? So there's issues there, but okay, it's COVID. We're just gonna move on. And then serendipity, another realtor friend says, hey, there's this building that's not on the market yet, but it's for sale. Hasn't listed on the market yet. Really great, nice little building, lots of traffic out front. I'm like, yeah, we'll take a look. So we came and we're like, oh, wow, for how much? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wait, can we do that? How much? Start doing the
Yeah.
calculations. And you know what? Yeah, I think we can do this, right? So there we go. We signed the papers. We got a great interest rate. Walk in with almost with instant equity.
Wow.
Not quite, but
Yeah,
I mean,
pretty
close.
right.
Yeah. And it was just it's a building. At 2 years prior, there had been a huge storm where the roof got blown out and everything was soaked, walls soaked. So we walk into it.
But it's almost done. Like it's almost brand new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So this building, it was a Texaco gas station. It was the first gas station coming in on 349.
Wow.
Yeah. Into town. And it's been actually if you notice the bathroom walls, they're like this thick.
Oh man.
Yeah, they're huge, right?
Crazy.
Blocked, right?
Uh-huh.
And the previous owner said, yeah, when he's putting up, you could see Texaco was still written on some of them.
Wow.
And so the building's added onto. We went through here because there used to be gas, and so gas storage, and the state lost the paperwork saying that they had been actually removed. So we had to go get a whole environmental analysis done.
Man.
They drilled core samples out of the property, so that, just that whole experience too, right?
Yeah.
It's like now when I help a business, I know that, hey, it's just, we got to look more, right? Because there's two experiences right there, the asbestos and then the gas, right?
So those, do you think that you learned, I mean, I probably already know the answer to this. So it's going to be an easy question. Do you think that you gained more in your business aspect and business knowledge through hands-on than you did through your academics?
100%. 100%. Yeah. Because hands where the learning takes place. Right?
Asbestos, the real estate. I mean, you didn't go for real estate, so you don't really teach that there. But you come out in the real world and you're like, I'm buying a building for my business. So I need to know what real estate is.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Contracts. Yes. Right. The way I like to see it is, and Michael used to say this, right? Books are a great foundation. They'll give you, terminologies you should probably know, some concepts that are good to know. Like, for instance, the SWOT analysis. I learned that in school, but I use that all the time out here, right? Even if you don't think you're using it, you're like, okay, what are strengths, weaknesses, opportunities? That's right. This is something that you have to look at when you're starting a business, right? So even though it's an academic, it's standard staple in academia and business school, well, in real life, it applies, right? But a lot of times when you're going through it now, I can only look back, say, oh, that's what they're trying to say that I didn't understand, but I just needed to know enough to pass the test, right? But I mean, the test is a whole lot different in real life than it is when you're taking a test from a book.
Did you think that it would help for, obviously you recommend mentorship, thinking partners, maybe, I don't know, coaching or...
Yeah, absolutely.
Basically what you've gone through.
Yeah.
With Michael, he was your mentor, right?
Yeah. That's probably the most important part, right? If you didn't grow up in an entrepreneurial family where it was just taught to you since the day you were born, but then you realize, you know what, I do want to own a business, right? Read books, listen to podcasts, find somebody who's been where you want to go.
Very.
That way you get, people who have been there and done that, they want to help you out.
Oh, I agree 100%.
You know, so I think we get, you know, like the nervous, or we don't like, who am I to go ask them for advice? But then when you get to meet them, no, they're there because they're servants.
Right.
The reason they're there is because they help people get there.
That's right.
You know, and so yeah, that's when I start coaching a client, that's one of the first things, right? It was like, okay, well, what industry are you in? What kind of business you trying to open? Great. Now let's immerse you in that world, right? So, okay, you want to start this type of business. So have you talked to an owner who owns a type of business like that? No. So why don't you reach out to business owners, look them up, do research, and Austin,
Awesome.
Dallas, Houston, some other small town, to where they don't think you're not competition to them, right? Maybe because sometimes here local, they're like, oh, it's a small town. Like, I don't, you know, they gatekeep. There's a lot of gatekeeping, right? So let's just avoid that, right? And if you can't find anybody that's not like obvious right there in front of you, let's go outside and let's find somebody who's been there. Go there, take them for coffee, pick their brain, just ask them, right? Ask 20 of them, get 19 no's. One of them is going to say yes. I would love to tell you my story and how I got here. That's all you need. You need just that one, you know? That's what Michael was for me, right? So that's one of the first things that it's like because I'm a generalist, right? So I can tell you and I can show you and I can guide you, but you're not going to learn unless from the horse's mouth, right? Somebody who's been there where you are trying to get to.
Right. And like you said, Michael was that for you.
He was that for me.
So y'all bought the building. Things are going great.
Yeah.
Your big client helped
us get here.
And then what happens?
So doing good, and we're building. And, you know, Michael and I had a true working dynamic. We had a lot of things in common, but then the things that we did not have in common were also strengths to each other.
Hey there, bookworms and knowledge seekers. Ever wished you could find everything you need in one place? Look no further than the Ector County Library. We're not just about books, though we've got plenty of those, from the latest page-turners to classic favorites. We're talking free high-speed internet, tech classes to boost your skills, and awesome programs for all ages. Kids can dive into storytime adventures, teens can hang out and study, and adults can join book clubs or learn something new. There's always something exciting happening at the library. So whether you're a student looking for homework help, a job seeker needing resources, or just someone who loves to learn, we've got you covered. Swing by your local Ector County Library and see what we're all about. It's more than just books. It's a whole world of possibilities. Ector County Library. Your adventure starts here.
The BAM BizTalk podcast is brought to you by our sponsor, Pachuco's Restaurant. Craving authentic and eclectic cuisine in Midland? Well, Pachuco's has you covered. Located in downtown Midland at the ever-so-legendary and iconic historic building at 316 North Big Spring Street, Pachuco's blends rich and unique flavors in a conveniently pleasant and vibrant atmosphere. Enjoy the highest quality barbecue, savory tacos, burgers, and a variety of other mouth-watering dishes that reflect the spirit of a true Pachuco cuisine. Real, authentic, and just plain different. Check out their menu at www.pachucos432.com or call 432-218-8806 to inquire, or better yet, just show up and get your shine on. At Pachucos, where heritage, exquisite taste, and hospitality come together for an unforgettable dining experience. Pachucos, Midland, Texas. Now back to the show.
Michael was great at web design, right? I was great at business plans, right? And both of us were good together to articulate marketing,
and you help build each other up.
And we help, definitely there for each other for everything. And we're both social butterflies, I guess, right? Both of us could go and talk to anybody and feel confident talking to them. It's you know, that's just who we are. So we were able to keep business coming in, and it's been all word of mouth and referrals. That's really still our main pipeline.
Well, they say
right?
that's one of the biggest.
But it's also the most inconsistent, which is the problem. But we were good for a while. And then Michael, he was a 22-year heart transplant.
Wow.
That right there in itself
Yeah.
is amazing.
It is.
But I would tell him to. I can see why. I can see how. Because Michael always had a purpose. He assigned meaning to everything, right? It's the things he would find meaning in. I would be, how do you see that? Like, oh, okay. When he points it out. But we were good for that, for each other. So COVID comes. And at first is doctors or don't get the shot. We don't know anything
Right.
about it.
Right.
Just let's wait, But then there was a lot of transplants who they started dying, and they hadn't taken a shot once they got COVID. And you know what? And although he didn't get tested, I know that he had it before, because his legs had swelled up really bad, and he wasn't able to really walk. But he fought through it. He was a tank.
Yeah.
He could take on anything. But when he got that shot, then the doctor said, you know what, we're starting to lose patients. We recommend you take the shot, right? And, we had already been talking about it. We had already been like, no, there's no way we're getting the shot, right? But then when his doctors were like, no, take the shot. So he took it. About a month after that, his heart started deteriorating, and it was deteriorating pretty bad. He went through about 8 months, going on a year of, he had to have this medicine 24/7 pumped into his heart. And, he was struggling so much. He would text me in the mornings, hey, buddy, I'm going to be running a little bit late. And I would tell him, hey, just stay home today, rest. And he was like, what am I going to stay home for? What does that do? I'm still going to be suffering. I'd rather suffer over there where I have a purpose instead of just laying around the house doing what? When I could see his point. So he'd get dressed up, he'd drive into work, and he was a hoss. He would just a workhorse. He just crank out so much work. And it's amazing because when I used to go visit in the hospital, I used to tell him about, that's when AI started coming out. And it was perfect timing for me because I had all this workload. So I was like, okay, yeah, here's a tool that can really help me out. Let me learn it, right? And I remember going to the hospital and telling him, oh, dude, like AI, you're gonna love this. When you get out, you thought you were doing some work before, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. We'd have conversations. He was just asking me all kinds of questions about it. But so he got on a second heart transplant list.
Wow.
And they took him through the gauntlet. They ran tests on him, physical, psychological. And he was funny. He had been dealing with doctors in the medical field for 22 years.
With the first heart transplant.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because he had to get 2 surgeries a year because they had to go in and get a biopsy of his heart to see how it's doing. So twice a year, he'd be out for a week. And I really think, and with all the buffet of medications that he had to take, right? I think that's why the average transplant is 9 to 10 years, because it is brutal watching somebody go through it. That's why I say he's a tank, because 22 years of just the brutalness of that. Yeah. But I think that's why he went that long, because he had a purpose. He had a purpose to pay back. So I would be remiss if I didn't tell this story about Michael. His first heart transplant was this gentleman whose car had got a flat. He was with his wife and his 3-year-old son, changing the tire. A professor from the University of Arizona was driving intoxicated and hit him. Michael was on literally his last few days from his heart deteriorating, his original heart. He had already given up. That was it. Really, in the last hours, that tragic incident gave Michael another life.
Wow.
And this just goes to show the type of guy Michael was. When he graduated, right? Not till after his heart transplant did he even go to school, right? He didn't get his degree. He had already been an entrepreneur, sold his business, was a millionaire, blah, 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 right? And then the heart transplant. Because before then he had heart attacks and quadruple bypass, and he had that. But after his transplant, then he goes into school and he ends up getting his master's. All his degrees, everything that he had, he was able to find a family. He hired lawyers, went through the whole legal process, located the families, and put the gentleman's name. Because, okay, I'm missing a part of the story. That gentleman was going to school at Arizona University.
The young boy that was in
The father who died,
the father
who
was
passed
okay.
away. He was going to school for management information systems, IT stuff, something Michael never really considered as getting into.
Right.
But with his new heart, he said, I'm going to go to school and I'm going to get the same degree that this gentleman was going for. And so when he graduated, he put those degrees in that gentleman's name and gifted them to the son.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's who he was.
Wow.
And that was his purpose. Right now, he was going to complete that gentleman's life. He's going to live it out. And that's how he ended up teaching. And now through teaching, he could really impact lives of people at an age to where they're starving for somebody to be that for them.
Wow.
So, yeah, that was his whole life. His purpose and his mission was serving others at this point.
So take me back to the day that you lost him.
So, wow. I was at a conference. So after his surgery, he was in the hospital for 4 months. And at first it looked really good. We were like, okay, the surgery went great. He's recovering. And then but then it just took a while for it. He only got to a certain point and they had to keep him in there because the rest of his body wouldn't come back online. But he was going through therapy. They were getting him up. They were moving. They were doing everything they could. And we knew the chances were greater now, but we also had a lot of hope still because it was Michael. One of those guys is like, that won't happen.
Yeah.
Right. And I was at a conference in Denver, went to a marketing conference, and it was the second day of the conference. And I woke up and I had several missed calls from his wife. And, just before I called her back, I already knew, and that was, there's a lot of things that happened like synchronistically. I stayed at a hostel and the only other gentleman in there with me, his name was Michael. He had these piercing blue eyes, just like Michael. He was a doctor from Denmark. Yeah. And that was one incident, one element of that day.
Yeah.
So I call his wife back and she drops it. And no matter, I already knew, but still those words, when they're said, it's like a sledgehammer.
What did that do to you?
In the moment, I'm putting on a front and, I'm trying to be strong. My first reaction was like, all right, I got to get on a plane, got to go back. I told her I'll be there tomorrow. She's like, why? There's no sense coming back. Just go ahead and write it out. You're there. So yeah, okay, you're right. He'd probably get pretty pissed if I were to leave after spending all this money to go to a conference to learn, to improve myself, and I'm just going to abandon it halfway. I could hear him just, no. So stuck through. And then the universe has a way of knowing, if you're paying attention, has a way of knowing that you're going through something. And so the keynote speaker that morning, his whole topic was heart-centered leadership. Yeah. And I sat up front. I just really like leaning on this gentleman to pour into me. It just opened up and I couldn't help it. When he was done, I shot straight up there and talked to him and told him what just happened. And he was just phenomenal. He was great. He was like, are you a hugger? I was like,
yes.
And just really, really just knew what I was going through, shed some tears with me. And, then throughout the day, I was getting some phone calls, then it was our people in our lives that really helped me through that day. And then for lunch, when we got lunch, there were 3 main rooms. It was a small conference. The center room is where they set up for lunch. But I went through and I got my lunch and I went to one of the side rooms, be by myself, and huge room, lots of tables, lots of chairs. I could have sat anywhere. And I didn't really care where I was going. I just went to one and sat down. And right on the edge of that table was a 5 of hearts. He ended up passing away at 5:55.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That hits a different level.
Yeah. Like there's coincidence and happenstance, right? But then assign meaning to that, right? That's synchronicity. That's divine. I don't know what you want to call it. It was saying, hey, you're gonna be all right. And
I'm still here. I see you.
yeah,
It's all right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And because it's 5 of hearts, you don't have to be a king to win. Play your cards right. A 5 of hearts can win it for you. Stick in there. Stay in there, So that was that was the day, Went through the conference and everybody I talked to, it just seemed like, and even if I didn't communicate to them what I was going through, I met some of the like nicest, kind of most genuine people. I found comfort in the kindness of strangers.
Yeah.
Without them even knowing what I was going through. Just because that's who they were, right?
Yeah.
It'd be different if I told them, oh, I'm suffering, I just lost, and then they were being nice.
Yeah.
That's one thing, but they were just being themselves. So I found comfort in that. And I've had some supernatural experiences here in this building afterwards.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about that.
The most just the most like obvious kind of experience. So my assistant, Brashan, he had came by. He wasn't working here yet. He was, but he had interned for me and Michael when we first started.
Okay. So you knew him a little bit.
Right. He knew Michael really well. Right. And so he went off to do his thing. He worked at Odessa College for a while. And when we found out Michael passed and I was back here, he came to just check in on me. So we have this little seating area out front. And we're sitting there just talking about Michael and just catching up. And it's a nice day. Little breezy, not too hot. It's a nice day. And I hear this voice in my head and it's repeating itself over and over. And Brashan's talking, so I'm trying to listen to what he's saying. But then there's just this voice in my head. And then all of a sudden, the breeze stops. Trees were like kind of going, but they're still. Like, I want to say that the cars even stopped going by so much, right? The colors went from regular, normal colors to misty, right? And I feel like I'm on acid or something because everything's just kind of morphing and it's weird. And then Brashan stops talking. And this voice in my head just goes over and over again. And I just blurt it out. I blurt out what I'm hearing in my head. And what it is you got this. And Brashan turns hard and he says, what? And I was like, you heard that? And he was like, I've been hearing that.
Wow.
And then when the breeze is coming again, the colors are back, and then there's all kinds of cars just whipping by. And like, but so talking to him, he experienced the same thing.
Wow.
Where he said, I was trying to tell you what was going on, but I kept hearing this voice in my head and I was still trying to tell you. So I don't know if you heard what I was telling you. I was like, no, I didn't hear anything you were saying. And we're like, whoa. So that was like the most like surreal experience that I had. And it was Michael. There's no doubt about that, because that's all it could be. Because we're sitting out there sulking. What are we going to do?
Talking about him.
Talking about him.
That's on your head. That's on your mind.
That's all there is.
That's it. You're in this building that y'all bought together.
What am I going to do next?
You have this business that y'all started. And
Yeah.
What did you do? What did it do to the business? What now? I mean, you're cruising, you're going. COVID hits. I mean, you've got some struggles. You've got some things coming up. And how did you transition to the next thing?
A lot of hard knocks. In a lot of ways, we're not completely there. So immediately, my thinking is, all right, this is the direction we were going. I got to do all I can to keep us on this direction.
Yeah.
Michael had us on this path for a reason. So I can't, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
So, okay, I got to now I'm like, okay, how do I manage this huge ship? I was just a sailor before. I was just pulling the ropes and tying them when you told me to.
Yeah.
Now I got to figure out where the wind's blowing, where it's coming from, what's the conditions.
And pray I don't hit an iceberg.
Right. And there's been a lot of that. Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, like it literally is a miracle that we're still here. The BAM is still operating. I know Michael he's behind the scenes. You know, he was a trickster. So I've had moments where I've reached a breaking point. You know,
Where you've just said, I'm done. I
Mhm.
can't do
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
What was one of those times?
So I came in on a Saturday and I came in early. I usually don't get here now. Saturdays till the earliest I'll get here is 10. But I got here on Saturday, like at 5 a.m. I couldn't sleep. I had a lot of work that I had to get done. During that time, there was a lot of busy. I was so busy doing this, doing that, kept doing that. But the needle wasn't moving. We weren't growing, we weren't advancing, just stuck. Little circles, running circles, running circles, running circles. And this was one of those days where I came in early and I was working all day, just right in front of the computer. And there came a point to where the computer screens, I couldn't understand what I was looking at. The words were not making sense. Numbers were not making sense. I'm like, what am I doing? I can't even explain what I'm doing here. What's on the computer screen, right? Because it looked like Chinese. It looked all scrambled and I couldn't make sense of it. So I was like, okay, well, maybe I've just been sitting here too long. Let me get up and walk around, and walked around a little bit and went outside. And I came back inside and I was just sitting there and I just put my head down. And at first it was just, I put my head down out of frustration and not knowing what to do. I was confused. I felt so alone. Like I couldn't even reach out to anybody. So alone. I didn't want to reach out to anybody. I was so alone. And then that is a moment where I went into my energy work and breathing. I grounded, went outside and I grounded myself and I started my Qigong practice. I was out there, it felt like an hour, but I was only out there for like 15 minutes.
Did you ever feel like you weren't just grieving Michael, which obviously we know you were, but you were also grieving the future that y'all had?
That I had that realization. Yes. Right. Because the 5 stages of grief, right? Of loss. I went through all of them, like, you know, at different times, but then I think I was going through all of them at once at one time. And that was a realization that I had. I was like, wow, we started this with a huge vision. We started this to make huge impact. And I felt I didn't learn enough from him. Then I started getting down on myself. Oh, I should have paid more attention. I should have, you know, all mad at myself. Why didn't I learn more? You know, why did I lean so much on him? And, you know, I look back and the whole time he was always in any decision, right? Anything we did, he would always emphasize to make sure that I was a huge part of that decision. He just didn't make decisions and say, go do it. It wasn't like that at all. We were really partners. We were true partners where he was mentoring me to do this, right? And I find solace the day that he got the call for his transplant. It was a Saturday. He called me, I think he and his wife called me like at 6 o'clock that morning on a Saturday. So I get the call and I'm like, what's going on? What happened? Right? And he says, hey, buddy. And that's all I hear from him. Hey, what's going on? Hey, you there? And then his wife gets on the phone and she's crying. Right? I was like, what's going on? And she says, he's crying. He can't talk right now, but we got the call. And, you know, I'm like still asleep. I'm like, call? What call? Is the building okay? You know what I mean? And she's like, his heart. Oh,
wow.
He's gonna make it, right? Because for months we've been just watching him slowly degrade. Now he's got the call, and so everything's gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be good now, right? So, you know, after that, you know, when they get the call, they're supposed to just book it, right? They have 5 hours to get to Dallas, right? Because of
the heart,
right? So I'm like, well, heck, I'm gonna go into work because we got work to do, right? Michael's be gone for a long time.
Yeah.
So I got to hold the shit while he's out, prepare for when he gets back. You know, it's like, it's a positive thing, right? If I come into work and I'm just here, I'm jamming, I have my music full blast, nobody else in the building. So I got it cranked up and I'm working. And then I just hear, hey, I turn around and he's at my door. I'm like, what are you doing here? You need to be on the road. And he was like, no, it's okay, because they were keeping the body alive. Right. So he had time to get over it. And so, yeah, so we talk in time and he said, hey, I just came by because I wanted to tell you two things. One, I love you, buddy. And two, you've been preparing your whole life for this. He said, you make a decision and you run with it. You don't let anybody tell you otherwise. You got this. You know what you're doing. You're smarter than they are. That's all he said. And, you'll be back. I mean, you're going to be all right. I'll hold it. I'll keep this place on ice till you get back. Yeah. How about that? He was like, that sounds good. But I think I knew then he wasn't coming back. He knew then he wasn't coming back. But, you throw on that veil of hope. And that's what it is. You just lean on the fact that you're hoping that he's coming back against knowing that he's not. So he had it. He knew when he left.
So when you're driving your ship that you just got thrown into the driver's seat on, when did you decide let's rephrase that. What made you decide to stick your chest out and say, I got this, and take that wheel?
Realizing that the only other choice was getting a job. That's the most terrifying thing I can think of.
Almost like a failure.
It is a failure. There's no beating around the bush on it. That it's a failure. Because I'm not going to use any excuse, right? If I were to have to shut the doors and get a job, I failed, right? There's no sugarcoating it. And there's a reason for that, though, right? I could make justifications for it.
Yeah.
I think anybody would tell me, oh, it's okay. No, you're pitted up against the wall and there's a lot going on. So don't blame yourself. Well,
it's the first person you're going to blame.
It's me all day long, and I'll tell you this too. The funeral, he's buried in Arlington National Cemetery because he's a Navy veteran. And so his funeral was in Dallas.
Okay.
And driving back into town, a friend of ours had gone with me and we left his truck here at the building. So driving back into town, I had to come to the building. And we're parked up right in front at the light, driving up. And it's just getting to dusk. It's still light out, but our building lights had turned on already. So it was all lit up and it looked beautiful, right? So sitting there at the light, I see the building and I'm like, the house that Michael built, right? Now it's up to me if it stays around, right? Success or failure, that's all on me. At this point, there is no excuses. There's no handouts. There's no free ride. That's the only thing. It's either be successful or you fail.
Yeah.
Right. There's no in between, and that's when I realized that like, it's all up to me right now, but I have a foundation. Yeah. I got a lot of overhead, right? I got a lot of overhead now that's all on me, but it's all on me.
So what did you decide? Is this where you decided to rebrand?
No, at that point.
Take me into
the rebrand.
Take me into that. So
yeah.
This is what you and Michael have created, right? And so you're steering your ship and you're like, all right, I'm not going to fail.
Right. Not going to fail. Right. Whatever it takes. Right. So full steam ahead in the direction that we were going.
Mm-hmm. You and him, this is your vision.
Right.
This is your, okay.
Right. And so when we first formed our LLC, immediately we DBA'd consulting.
Okay.
An entrepreneurial center. We also have a nonprofit, BizHub.
Okay.
And the entrepreneurial center was a recent development because we had been BAM Consulting the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
But then, Michael had an epiphany, entrepreneurial center. That's the one. So redesigned. We kept the same core logo.
Mm-hmm.
We just built around it to incorporate into entrepreneurial center. Right. So the core logo was with our little building graph,
Mhm.
but then entrepreneurial center. And so that's what we leaned hard into that. So much so we got while he was in the hospital, I bought the sign that's out front now that says entrepreneurial
Oh,
center.
wow.
I got our front door, entrepreneurial center. I got new, we were already running out of business cards. I got new business cards,
Wow.
entrepreneurial center. We have all these shirts. I go into my closet in the morning and it's all BAM Entrepreneurial Center, BAM Consulting.
Wow.
And so I mean, this is it.
Not 1 foot. We're both.
No,
feet.
we're
We
all the
jumped.
way.
We're in.
Yes, right. We're going with that, right? So yeah, I didn't even think about the rebrand. I'm not thinking rebrand at this point.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking this is where we're at. This is where we're going. This is what I'm using what we have and I'm going to leverage it. That was actually rally cry at the beginning. It was like leverage. I have to leverage everything, right? Everything, right? So here I am, leverage, like, trying to leverage everything. So, okay, well, we have a brand. We're known in the area somewhat. So I'm just going to leverage that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the more I learn, the more I feel that this is a responsibility now, right? Now it's just not, hey, we're building a business with my good friend who's a whiz at business and we're going to be okay. Things are great. Yeah, it might get a little tough sometimes, but we're going to push through because we're going to make it because of him, right?
Yeah.
Now it's like, oh,
It's on you.
it's on me. Now I have to make all these decisions,
Mhm.
right? And I have a lot of realizations along the way. Like, I don't want to get details of it, but he would make a decision and I would like I wouldn't understand the decision. I was like, yeah, I wouldn't have thought about that to make that decision. Okay. That's why he's my mentor. I'm learning
Yeah,
from him, right?
right.
So then fast forward, I'm on my own and I have to make a decision. And so we should say this, that the pastor who did his service
Mhm.
had come to talk to me before to get to a sense to know Michael so he could talk about it.
Speak about him.
And he asked me, tell me something that you learned going through all this. And it's like, well, you know how y'all say, what would Jesus do? Me, it's like, well, what would Michael do? And that became a thing, so much so that the pastor himself made these stickers. What would WWMD? What would Michael do? Right? Oh, that's awesome. So I took that and I made it into our colors. Right. So I made a sticker now. What would Michael do with our QR code right in the middle? Right. So that was kind of my trial. Like, what would Michael? So now going through decisions and okay, what would Michael do? That's what I asked myself. That's because before something happened, I just go into his office or he come to my office and say, hey, buddy, we got to take care of this.
Yeah.
It's got a fire we got to put out. What are we going to do? And we talk about it. And when he would make, a certain decision based on limited, context.
Yeah.
Because that's all you have to work with sometimes as an entrepreneur, right? You
Yes.
never have 100% of the information.
I understand that, believe it or not. More than
So now that I look through and make these decisions, I'm like, oh, he was making the business decision. He was a shark, right? And in business, you really have to take emotion out of the decision. I think there's a harmony. I don't want to say balance. I don't like saying balance, but there's a harmony between the cold, hard decision and the emotional underlying. And if you get them blurred too much, that's when bad decisions are made.
I agree.
But that's something that when I started making it, so the rebrand
Mhm.
is that business decision overriding my emotional.
So you stuck in driving that ship for him?
Yeah.
When you knew, did you know, do you still feel like he would have said, what are you doing?
No.
Go do you.
Oh, yes. Oh,
Yeah,
I
go
think.
do that. Go do you. I trained you. I mentored you. You have a purpose too.
Mhm. I feel that's what he was telling me that day that he left for surgery.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, going back.
I just didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to hear that. Because no, this is ours, right? You're coming back so we could do this. And then when he did pass and I was here, I felt a sense of loyalty to continue. That was a big part of it. Another part of it was like, well, what else am I going to do?
Yeah.
at that time, the only options were continue or turn back around, pack it up and go get a job.
Yeah.
You know, but I was like, whoa, no, not yet. I don't want to do that. Let me see what I can do. And he trusted me. Let me trust myself and ride this out. That was summer of 23. And we haven't even talked about this, but during this whole time, I'm going through my own personal journeys, trials. I had my own medical situations where I've had 5 major surgeries in these last 3 years. 4 of them after Michael passed. Over these last 3 years, I've been out of the office 10 and a half months. We shouldn't be here, right? Business should not still be operating. Through black and white,
Right.
on paper, how?
Right.
You know, I've lost 5, including Michael, 5 people in my life that were close, part of my life. You know, 2 childhood friends I grew up with. 1, a friend of 30 plus years.
Wow.
She was the one that I could call at 1, 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
That'd be there to hear me vent. And same, I'd be there for her. You know, we were just best of friends.
Yeah.
Michael, and then I had a spiritual mentor that we were just really connected, really on a spiritual level. He taught me a lot. You know, all these people that mean so much to me, I lost them.
Yeah.
You know, and these were people that were not blood, but they became family and became just as important and more connected than a lot of actual blood.
Right.
Because we chose each other.
Yeah. Sometimes those are the hardest ones to lose.
Yeah. You know, and so during this whole time, I'm going through all of that as well.
Yeah.
You know, being out of the office, surgeries, you know, I feel like I get momentum going and surgery. I feel like I get momentum going, surgery, right? So after this last one, 5th one, this last summer, I feel like a whole new person. I feel re-energized, reinvigorated, like the tank got refilled.
Yes.
You know, and so along with that, and the branding was done before this last surgery, so I could gain some momentum.
Yes.
And then float into this.
Yeah.
Right. So now that I'm on the other side, I'm leveraging that rebrand, because the rebrand. So the reason for the rebrand, we were BAM Consulting, Entrepreneurial Center. BAM, who? BAM, what do y'all do? Right?
Yeah.
What is this? So when I realized, because the mechanic finally taking care of his own car, right? I'm telling everybody else, keep it simple.
Yeah.
Keep clean. You want one name on all your social media and your website. You want it. You want your domain to, you know, you like.
And you're
all
up
these
here
things.
doing the complete opposite.
Complete opposite.
Complete opposite.
Yeah, like you know. So it's time to fix it. So I realized that, and you know, we're talking about earlier. You want to find help. You want to find mentors. You want to find.
Yes.
So I hired a business consultant,
Okay.
and that's one of the first things we did. Right? Because he pointed that out. And I was like, yeah, I already knew that, but really, I'm going to rebrand. I had thought about it before, but I was like, well, it's too much. I just got the sign, just got the front door, just got new cars, got shirts. Like, man, that's too much to rebrand. You know, like, but he took me through it. Made sense, right? Because this brand that we had before, it was confusing, right? And I, like I said, I knew that, but I was like, so you know what? Let's rip the Band-Aid off. We'll just rip the Band-Aid off. So complete website redesign, right? And I'm still tweaking on that.
Yeah.
But we went back to our original LLC name.
Okay.
Right? So our original LLC name is Ventures LLC.
All right.
And we just DBA'd everything else on top of it.
Got it.
Right? Because we started with a name that for our goal. We want to be a venture capital company.
I see.
Right? We want to take businesses, an ethical venture capital company.
Right.
We want to take a business. We want to cut out the bad apples, but we want to keep the core of that business. We want to keep the owners. We want to empower the owners. We want to empower the employees. We want to set them up with systems, message their marketing, just transform a business, put capital into it, get them where they need to go, and rinse, repeat, right? That's and that was always where we wanted to end up at.
I see.
But at the same time, how do we get there? We didn't have the capital to do that. So we got to build up to that.
You're here. So now we need to get to there.
Yeah. So how do we get there? One step at a time, right? So when my business consultants, look, you already have the name. It's a great name, BAM Ventures. It's a great name. How come you're not using it? Well, I really didn't have an answer for him.
I don't know. Yeah.
I didn't. I couldn't. And then when I realized I couldn't explain that, I realized he was right. Okay. And he was like, yeah, think about it. I want to design something just real quick and I'm going to shoot it at you, see what you think. The week after he sent me the new logo.
All right.
Okay, I like this, right? And then we came up with a quick tagline on it. And I was like, I could really use that.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I can leverage, right? That's something that people can understand as soon as I say it. I'm Ventures, your business sidekick. Even sitting out here, when I told Dan was like, I like that.
Yeah. Anything, anything business-wise.
Yes.
Your marketing, your signage, your structure, your P&L statements, your CPA work, right? Like all these things.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, is it strayed really far away from what you and Michael had originally?
Aesthetically, yes. Aesthetically and energetically, yes. The mission's the same. The purpose is the same. That the core is unchanged, right? Of where we're heading to, aesthetically and energetically. So now it's, it allows me to be me, right? Because I'm creeping on 50, but I feel like I'm in my 30s still.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you look great.
Like, thank you. But I relate a lot to that younger generation.
Yeah.
And I realized that when I went back to college, I really was relating back to the young kids.
Yeah.
Because I'd been in college forever, as a
Right.
college student.
Yeah. And then you went back and did more school and then
Yeah.
came out and then went back. And
Yeah.
do you feel like college was a safe place for you?
Yes, 100% it's safe.
Easy
right?
question. Right?
Yeah, because I love learning,
Mhm.
but then being in an environment to where other people are learning and we get to learn together and we get to throw ideas at each other.
Yeah.
It just the whole college university lifestyle, that whole thing is like, I love it.
Yeah.
If I could be anything else and be perfectly comfortable, and I still might in older age,
Right.
is be a college professor to pay back to students like Michael did.
Yeah.
I would love to just tenure at some university till I die.
Yeah.
That'd be great, right? If it's not this, I want it to be that. Maybe both, right?
Yeah. I mean, you never know.
I don't know.
So it's one thing to kind of just survive,
Mhm.
right? And it's another one to rebuild your mind in the whole process of it,
Mm.
because that's kind of what you had to do. So let's talk about what keeps you steady.
Mm.
What keeps you stable through all of this? Through the transition, the rebranding, the struggles, the highs, the lows.
Mhm.
We've talked about all the highs. We've talked about some lows. We've talked about the good, the bad, a little bit of the ugly. So how do you stay steady through that? Moving forward.
By knowing I am where I'm supposed to be. I know I'm supposed to be here. Michael knew that I was supposed to be here. Because what I do right now is really just pieces of all of my life that I really enjoy, right? For instance, right here on the podcast, I love audio, the video, the technology. I used to be a recording performing artist, so this is very much in my comfort zone.
Right.
I used to live in a studio. I've been on some pretty big stages. I opened up for Pitbull back in the early 2000s, right? It's a part of South by Southwest a couple years. Lived the whole Austin musician thing.
Yeah.
Really comfortable in that. I'm a bookworm, right? My goal is 100 books a year, right? I don't always get there, but that's my goal, so I'm at least clocking 60 something books a year,
Yeah.
and everything. So I love research,
Yeah.
Diving deep into subjects and topics, of all kinds, right? And this is so if there was something repetitive, I lose my mind because it's over and over and over and over again, right? But this is different every day, right? When you get on the microphone to do a podcast, your guest is always different.
Yeah. You don't know what's coming at you.
Don't know, right?
Yeah,
And so
it's fun.
you have to be nimble.
Right.
I'm a writer. I've written my whole life, right? That's what, when I got into music, where writing songs was really fun. That was the fun writing. I've always journaled. I've always just written for myself, writing love letters to girlfriends, waxing poetic, just having fun with words, concepts, ideas. That's always been fun to me. Problem solving. That's a huge part of what I like to do. Puzzles, figuring out solutions.
Yeah.
So here, that's what I do.
Yeah.
All day long.
So what is a piece of advice that you would give other entrepreneurs that are facing major setbacks and challenges currently?
Well, I think you really have to be self-aware. That's step one in all facets of life, really, right? It's that self-awareness of where are you at right now? Do you know where you want to go? Clarity, right? So the Focus Conference.
Oh, coming up
soon, September 19th, right?
Yeah. Purpose, clarity, momentum.
Yeah. So that's beautiful, right? That really is a 3-phase pathway to success, right? So if you're an entrepreneur out there and you're struggling right now, you have to you know what your purpose is, right? In your business, what's the purpose of your business, right?
I think that I feel as though probably about 90% of people, if you were to walk up to somebody on the street and say, what is your purpose in life? They wouldn't have an answer.
They wouldn't have an answer. Yeah. Most don't.
Yeah.
But I think the center, and it's in the center for a reason, right? Clarity. You have to gain clarity. Why are you struggling in your business? You have to get clear on that. Do you know who your actual customer is?
Right.
Everybody's not your customer, right? You have to get clear.
Yeah.
And the more that you're clear on what it is that you do, who it is that you serve, that's how you keep that going to build the momentum.
Right.
And that's what really will take you to the next part of where you need to be, the thing that gets to the thing.
Yeah. No, and I think that, like you said earlier, the conference is going to help a lot of people maybe in this area. But going out and finding the mentors, the coaching, the reading the books, going to conferences.
Yeah.
There's so many people out there that have never been to a single conference. So I was one of them. Yeah.
And look
Not
at you
anymore.
now. Yeah,
Look at me now. What does success mean to you now compared to what it did back then? Has it changed?
I would say so. Yeah. I think because before, success was tied to, well, the large scale is financial freedom.
Yeah.
Right? That was what success was, right?
Everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody wants that.
Right?
Yeah.
But if that's the case, I'll just go get a job.
Right.
I got a master's degree. I can get a pretty good job right now.
For sure.
Plus I have some experience managing and operating a business. I feel that I could probably pull a pretty good paycheck somewhere.
Yeah.
And work from 9 to 5, 4:40, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Right? Counting down, weekends off. Yeah. What? I ain't coming in on the weekend. I'm happy to punch in and punch out because I have financial freedom now, right? So that's not what it's about anymore. It's still needed, right? Still got to pay bills, still got to eat.
For sure.
And even more so, that's a means to an end. Do I want a lot of money? Yeah. Am I going to probably buy some pretty cool stuff? Yeah. Yeah. Right. I'm not a crazy car guy, but I love cars, trucks, love to travel, right? For sure. But is that the end all be all? No. Right. I'm doing this because I think I've always had this in my heart, and it's going to sound so cliche, but I think it's one of those cliches that it hits categorically true, right? When somebody says it from a place of authenticity, it's like, let's make the world a better place.
Yeah.
Simple. It's oversaid, it's overdone, but I think it's absolutely true for a lot of people. So if I do have a philanthropic gene in me, that part of the purpose, right? To help people build better lives.
Yeah. Give back, to serve, I know that's kind of all in your wheelhouse as well. What advice would you give somebody after rebuilding, what advice would you give someone rebuilding after a loss or a big change? mean, that's what you went through all of that.
Take time to reflect. Right? Take the time. Don't just throw yourself into distractions, because that's so easy to do.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of it. I still am. But taking time to heal. So it's so hard to healing. They say, time heals all wounds. No, because if it was just time, I'd be great by now. Healing is an ongoing process, right? I don't think you're ever 100% from what you were before. You're a different version.
Yeah.
But you'll always have the scars, no matter what it is. But if you take time to intentionally heal, that comes along with self-awareness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where are you on that journey? Being able to reflect on that and seek the help, seek the advice. You may feel like you're alone. Because I know I did for a long time. I felt alone. No matter how many people said, hey, hope you're doing okay, just checking in on you. That's great, but I still felt alone.
Yeah.
Because when I walk up to that door every morning, I'm the only one in the building. There's nobody else next to me helping me out. Yeah. Am I alone in this? Yeah. But I know I have support. I think it's reaching out. For instance, I have the fence out here. I pointed out to you out there that we're gonna we're gonna rebuild it and put it somewhere else. And I was like, well, okay, that's a big job. I got one guy helping me out. And then I thought of a friend of ours from a few years ago. I thought, you know what? If I didn't tell him and he found out I did that, he'd be pissed. He'd be pissed. So I gave him a call, and he was so happy that I called him. And he said, yeah, I'll go down there. You just let me know when. I'll be down there. He's got to travel like 4 hours to get here.
Oh, wow.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm alone, but I'm not alone. So, and it's my thing is I don't like asking for help.
Right.
Right. I think a lot of us are like that. We're self-motivated, self-contained. We got this. We can do this. Right. And when you're struggling, when you're going through life, when life's throwing all the lemons at you, right? All the tomatoes, you're just getting smacked around. You feel alone, but it's okay. One, it's okay to acknowledge that you're not in the best position, right? We want to put up this stoic kind of, upfront guard that we're okay. Nothing's wrong. I got this. Don't worry about me. And that has its merits, to a point. But then you also have to be vulnerable, and acknowledge the vulnerability. You're already vulnerable, whether you acknowledge it or not.
Yeah.
So it's acknowledging the vulnerability. And only in acknowledging it, you can do something about it. Because if you ignore it, you can't do anything about it. Sweeping it under the rug, it stays under the rug and it builds up until you trip over.
I was going to say, you trip.
That's what happens.
So if we have somebody out here, somebody that's listening, man, your story's amazing. How do we reach you? Where do we go? With the rebranding going on, where's your building at? I'm sitting in it, so I know where it's at. But people out here listening, man, what great services that you do too. So tell me where you're at and how they can reach you.
So you can find us at Ventures. Yeah, we're everywhere. And it says our entire name and the tagline, right? Yeah. So you see us on social media. It's BAM Ventures, your business sidekick.
Okay.
Right? And we're on all the platforms. We're on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok. I'm still getting used to TikTok.
Yeah, I am too.
A lot.
Yeah.
And then our podcast, BizTalk, where you listen to it, well, it's on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Substack, YouTube, and Amazon Music. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to kind of close this out here. All right. You've walked us through the highs. You've walked us through heartbreaks. You've walked us through a little bit of that rebuild you got going on. I have a last question for you. Here we go.
Okay, here we go.
If people take just one thing away from your story, what do you hope that it is?
Another cliche thing that you hear all the time. Don't quit. You only fail when you quit.
Don't quit. I like it. And that's it right there from Angel Garcia. We want to thank you. I'm Tina Townsend with Alpha Omega Leadership. And thanks, Angel, for having me.
Thank you so much, Tina.
I appreciate
appreciate you for sure, because you gave me an opportunity to tell my story. And it's something that I know and I've been needing to do. It's one of those things to keep kicking it down the road, kicking the can down the road. But, I met you the other day and you just started laying into me, asking all these questions.
I
And
did.
I'm like, oh, you got me to think. Okay, let me see here.
Yeah. I know. I was easy today. I was
Yeah,
easy.
you were a little easy on
I
me.
was, but I wanted to hear you.
Yeah.
I wanted to hear you talk. And we got in some depth and
Yeah.
we got in some good stuff. And,
Yeah.
I did want to touch on the podcast. We've been here for quite a while, but who knows? Maybe you'll do another one.
I'd love to.
Yeah.
Let me interview you.
Absolutely. I'll encourage you all day long. I will ask questions. I will listen. I will carry on to the next question. Man, whew, you're asking a lot. Oh, man.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, thanks, Angel. I really enjoyed it. And we're going to see you at the conference. So
At the conference.
Yes.
That's what, September 19th and 20th.
September 19th, 20th.
Bush Convention.
Convention Center.
Yes. There's some legends coming, people. Legends.
Yeah.
Les Brown.
And Milet. Paul
Yeah.
Martinelli.
Man, yes.
Some good ones. Dan Nicholas.
Dan, yeah.
Yeah. No.
Man, and he's really killing it. And I had the pleasure of meeting him for the first time today. And I got to say, he's a gem for the area.
Sure.
And I'm up to it, madam.
Yeah. He's
Looking forward.
good heart. And me too.
It's going to be great. So just for that, we're going to do a giveaway on some tickets,
Yes.
right? If you want those tickets, then I'm going to ask you to send a video in, 60 seconds or less. Who are you? What's your business? And why do you want to attend this conference?
Oh, I'm excited to watch these videos.
Yeah, me too. And I think we're going to gauge the winners
All right.
based on the best story.
I like it.
If you can link all those three things together and why it makes sense, what's your story? Tell us your story, and you get some free tickets that are valued at what?
$159 for a single day. This is the 2-day pass, and so you can bring a friend. How many tickets are we giving away here?
I think four.
4 tickets. We got 4 tickets to give away, so I'm really excited about that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's go. This is how we build our community.
Let's do it.
Come on, support it. All right, on to the next time. Thank you, Miss Tina.
Thank you.